Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining our exciting webinar on digital transformation, a holistic approach to marketing and business operation. I am Dua Afifi, your host, and delighted to guide you for this webinar today. Today, our speaker, Mr. Paolo, will share invaluable insights on how digital transformation can reshape our business operation and elevate our marketing outcomes. Today, we will explore how we operate and strategize in the digital age, not just adopting the latest technology. Our speaker, Mr. Paolo Ramazzotti, brings over 2 decades of experience as an entrepreneur and marketing strategist, making him the ideal guide for this discussion. He's the founder of 2 remarkable consultancies, Mind the Gap and Digitools, which have helped many clients across diverse industries shine on the global stage. Before I give the floor to Mr. Paolo, I would love to tell our audience about Dubai Quality Group, who doesn't know about us that much, who we are. Guided by the vision of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Vice President, Prime Minister, and ruler of Dubai, Dubai Quality Group was established by the Department of Economic Dubai, under the patron of His Highness Sheikh Ahmed bin Saeed Al Maktoum, as a non-profit organization in 1995, committed to developing and enhancing a culture of quality and business excellence in the UAE. We organize various training programs, conferences, and awards throughout the year with the object of improving quality of service and business excellence in the region. Our mission and vision and value, I would love to tell you about it. Mr. Paolo, if you can shift. Yeah, thank you so much. Our vision is to be leading partner for people, organization, and the community in the field of quality and excellence. Our mission is to create and sustain the culture of excellence and innovation to all our stakeholders. Our value is excellence, integrity, and teamwork. We would love to introduce our activities for our beloved attendees today. We have subgroups and seminars, training, webinars, consultation, international and local awards, and conferences. I'm delighted and pleased to present our esteemed speaker today, Mr. Paolo Ramazzotti. Please.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for attending. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Doha, and thank you, Dubai Quality Group, for inviting me. It's really my pleasure, and it's really interesting to speak to such an audience. As you said, I think it's good to speak in advance about probably how this webinar is going to happen. So we're going to just discuss the topic now, and then at the end there will be the question of like a series of question and answers where I'll be glad to actually take down all the answers that you will they will write. Please don't worry, just don't be shy, just ask whatever you need, because this is going to be more useful if it works both ways. So if I can somehow answer what your curiosities are. So I'm going to be very quick in introducing what we do. So I'm here because my company is Mind the Gap, is a consulting company that focuses on strategical digital marketing. I really don't like presenting myself, so I'll go very quick. And Mrs. Doha already introduced me enough. I've been working in this field since the year 2000, so I'm quite old. So I've been through at least 2 decades. I actually started working on the internet in 1997, so I've seen quite a lot of things happening, and it still surprises me to see that a lot of things still happen on a daily basis in our field. So my goal today is to share and make sure that we all understand how the digital transformation they need to be aligned to business goals and marketing goals. Working all these years in different agencies and for many clients, I have seen that there is very often a misalignment between what the business goals are in a company and what the marketing goals are. Not always does it happen that marketing goals are aligned to business goals, and this is a very, very crucial part of digital transformation. But Since the topic is digital transformation, every time I speak about a topic, I really like to make clear what exactly the topic is. So the point today is to start by defining together what is digital transformation. And this is something where I would really like to also have your feedback. So please feel free to start giving your thoughts in the question and answer section about what is digital transformation for you and for your company. But I would like to share a definition that will clearly define what today we believe is digital transformation. So digital transformation is a double phase in the life of a company, or at least it should be. So on one side, it refers to the process of integrating all the digital technologies into all the aspects of the business, just changing the way that the operations work within a company. On the other side, it's about, and it's the hard side, it's about changing the organizational culture. So making sure that the customer is put at the center, at the very center of all the company's life, and kind of redefining all the business operations around these different goals. So the scheme in the middle represents the three areas in which most of the companies or entities are divided into. So there's usually three parts, which is operations, that refers to the products or services that the company provides. Then there's administration, which takes care of all the financial aspects. And there's sales and marketing. And the sales and marketing is the part in which mostly we will be focusing today. But of course, it's going to be very important to actually see how everything is connected. I just wanted to make sure that by digital transformation today, we're going to focus about the sales and marketing department and communications, of course. So now we have defined digital transformation, and that is fine. Everybody tells us we need to do digital transformation. Everybody tells us that we need to evolve, that businesses need to evolve. But what I don't see very often is discussing why is this a necessity. So why do companies need to evolve in a digital way and transform into a different kind of company? So there's many reasons, and I'm not pretending to give all the reasons available, but I would like to give my 2 cents and to share with you what I think is one of the most important reasons for which actually companies need to do this digital transformation. So it has to be about how things were done yesterday and how things are done today. So I'd like to share this topic that's been in discussion for a long time. So we have always been, from 15 years ago backwards, or even 10 years ago backwards, we have often been in business in a situation in which there was a big information asymmetry. So a difference, a lack of balance between what the buyers knew about a specific product or services and what the seller knew about a specific service. Okay, so the point is that I just realized that the slides are actually the opposite. So this has been inverted. The seller is on the left and not on the right. Sorry about that. Anyway, I'll speak about the concept. The concept is when you want to, when up to 15 years ago, when you wanted to buy something, you would go to a seller, you would go to a shop. And when you go to a shop, you talk to a buyer, and the buyer knows a lot about the product or service that he's trying to sell you, right? So normally the buyer didn't know a lot about what the product was about, and therefore the situation was of information asymmetry. That means that the buyer knew a lot more about the product than the seller knew a lot more about the product rather than the buyer. And in this case, it's very easy for the seller to actually persuade the buyer into purchasing something that he doesn't really know much about, okay? And what we define is, in this case, that actually information, when it comes to this business transaction, is the power. The fact that the seller has a lot of information puts him into a very powerful position when it comes to persuading the buyers into performing a specific action, okay? So information is there or used to be there on one side, but what happens today? Can we say that today is the same situation? Absolutely not, because where is information today? Today, information is online. It's not anymore just held into product manuals or the knowledge and the past experience of the sellers. Information about products and services is shared online and it's visible and available to everyone, especially the sellers. So every time a seller goes to buy something, he or she has probably already made a lot of research looking backwards at what has been the reputation of a specific seller, what is the experience of other sellers, buyers like him that have purchased that product or service. So in other words, the situation has transformed from an information asymmetry, well, the power was in the hands of the seller, to information parity, where the information lies more or less with the same size at the buyer side and at the seller side. And the information is online. So the fact that information is online makes it easy for everybody who wants to purchase something to actually check and understand about a product and about a company before doing a transaction. So in other words, data, information, and people, they're all online. And that's why it's important that digital transformation happens within a company, because up to 15 years ago, this information was not as much online. But now, every day, every second day, the amount of information that's created is higher than the amount of information that has been created since 2 days ago, and starting from the beginning of time. The amount of data that is being collected and used online is extremely important. And here I want to make another clarification before I go on, and it's the following, okay? So there's a lot of companies that today speak about data-driven marketing, data-driven strategies, data-driven business strategies, and actually in our companies we do the same. But this is not entirely new, is it? Because companies have always been using data, right, to understand what they were doing in their business. Okay, it's not like using data is something that only happens today. Data has been used since the beginning of time when it comes to business. It's not that numbers were not invented to count the sheep before going to sleep because you couldn't fall asleep. Numbers were invented for trades, for business reasons. And today, it is not very much about the availability of data, because data has always been there. Sales data, buyers data, product data. It's always been there. It's always been used by business strategists and by marketers. It's what changes is the nature of data today. So today, data has some features and some characteristics that it did not have before. And what are these characteristics that are today in data that yesterday were not there? So first of all, volume. We spoke about it. I just spoke about it. So volume of data, the volume available of data today is incredible. It's ever growing. It's not going to stop. And you can just see, for example, the way that the pricing of data storage has changed and decreased and has plummeted in the past like 10 years. It's crazy. Now the information storage is really as cheap as ever, and it's going to be cheaper and cheaper until maybe one day it will be free. So the volume of data that is available today is what really makes the difference. Another characteristic is the fact that data has a very different velocity in being generated. That means that data is collected and created and organized at a speed that has really no comparison with what was done in the past. So digital transformation is not just about using data online, but it's about understanding these new features, understanding that there's an incredible volume of data, that the data is building with a velocity that has no comparison with the past, and that the availability of data is another feature that makes things really, really changing. That means refers to the first phase of what we were thinking as we were talking about before as the digital transformation. So the fact that data is available at all times, and that it's got a huge volume, and that it grows at a very increasing speed. Now, let's look at a case, because this was a bit of a theoretical part, and I really like to give some concrete and practical examples of how digital transformation can be put into real action. So I just thought about creating a hypothetical case. So we're looking at a company that works in finance. So we're just doing a hypothetical work here project for the so-called Emirates FinTech Bank. Okay, just a fake name, just a dummy name to speak about it. So how can a company in such a position use digital transformation to actually move on towards more connected and more impactful marketing strategy? Well, first of all, let's look at how things were normally done in this field before digital transformation. So most of the times, the business strategies of such banks, they used to rely on very traditional banking services, and they used to focus in experience of the customer that mostly happened in the branch, so within the bank. So it's like an in-person relationship. And the marketing strategies were most of the times either happening at the bank itself, or anyway primarily offline promotions, or even TV or radio, so like broadcast. But their online presence used to be a basic one, and it still actually happens for a lot of banks, right? The challenge is that the service like this is often relying on manual processes, and the customer acquisition is very slow, because younger demographics, they normally do not appreciate this kind of old style way of doing things, and so the banks need to kind of keep the pace of the new fintech startups that are being born constantly, and they kind of disrupt the financial world. So let's look at this case and look at step by step what such a company should do to get up to speed and to put in action the digital transformation. So first of all, we said it's going to be two phases. The first phase, which is the easy phase, is about integrating technology. Okay, what does it mean? Because everybody talks about this, but what does it mean? First of all, still not many companies are using a very robust CRM, so a customer relationship management system. It's crucial, okay? And the CRM needs to be intertwined with all the legacy systems within a company. That means also financials and also invoicing systems. Everything needs to be connected, because you need to have as much data available as possible. Because as we said, data is in a high volume and it builds up at high speed. We need to make sure that the data is collected and understood in the right way. So the first thing you need to do is to put your company in a situation in which at least the technological infrastructure allows you to collect and organize data properly. Then IoT solutions. So I'm sure that you all know about the fact that the Internet of Things, so IoT, is one of the most important revolutions that is happening today. So getting things smarter and smarter, it's very important. And so using IoT to enhance customer experiences is something that also many companies are looking at. So making objects smarter, making our phones smarter, of course, but making everything in our life smarter, so that it actually connects to the internet and shares information about our preferences, and helps companies build a user profile that then is used not to exploit, but to enhance the service, to improve the services, okay? We're not talking about a wrong usage of data here. We're talking about trying to use data to profile the users in a way that we can serve them better. So it's completely a positive aspect, okay? So developing a mobile banking app with AI-driven features is also something that the company should do. Now, artificial intelligence is a part of our everyday life. I have to say, I got a lot of help from artificial intelligence to actually create and organize these slides, although the narration needs to be, of course, rethought afterwards. And I think that it's going to be always more and more important into our daily life. But I want to make a distinction here. So I know that this topic today is not about artificial intelligence, but still I want to share one thought. Okay, so we should not be afraid of artificial intelligence per se, because many people say that artificial intelligence is going to remove a lot of jobs. But probably it's true that many people are going to lose their job, but people are probably going to lose their job in favor of other people, not machines. They're going to lose their jobs in favor of other people that actually learn how to use artificial intelligence. I really like to speak about augmented intelligence rather than artificial intelligence. And augmented intelligence means artificial intelligence plus human intelligence. So that's what we need to do and what we need to focus. And this is very important in marketing. So do not rely solely on artificial intelligence, but put your grain of salt and your brains to it to actually augment it to a level that was not used before. Of course, if you want to, in financial world, if you want to get up to speed with technology, you need to integrate blockchain for enhanced transaction security and all the benefits that it actually provides to the company. We're still in the technology part. So then, one thing that most companies are not really spending a lot of time in is optimizing your online presence. It's still very, very, very common to see websites that are hard to use, that are not readable, they have a poor mobile experience. This is something that you need to change yesterday, not today. So if you want to be perceived as a digital transformed, as a digital aware company, you need to make sure that at least your website and your social media channels are up to speed when it comes to experience, right? So think about the experience when you're creating your website. Do not think about just simply what you want to tell the user, but always put yourself in the shoes of the person who's actually using the mobile app or the website, and try to ask yourselves, okay, what's in there for my user? How can it use it, right? Another thing that is being under debate for a lot of time is SEO. I don't know if you're aware with what SEO is. It stands for a search engine optimization. So SEO is the process in which companies try to make their websites relevant for specific topics, so that when a user goes on Google and searches for something, it finds that company, okay? SEO is a very, very important long-term strategy for any business. And today it's more important than ever because advertising costs online are skyrocketing, especially in some niche. And if we have to mention one niche in which these prices are skyrocketing, it's actually financial services, okay? When it comes to the online experience, you definitely need to take advantage of rich media. And of course, if you are wanting to shape and educate your community, you're going to use educational content for people that want to learn about finances and about investment opportunities, okay? This is something that you should do to optimize your online presence. Then comes the part in which you actually collect and use the data, okay? So first of all, you fix your online presence, you make sure that you're up to speed when it comes to a proper user experience on your website, you make sure you put out there content that is long-lasting, evergreen, and it serves the users, you make sure you create rich media to produce educational content for your users. Then is the moment in which you need to start collecting the data, and collecting the data is necessary for the process of actually tweaking your services and what you do in a way that it reflects what you have heard as a feedback, okay? I really would like us to all forget about the old way of looking at data, which is like looking at the rear view mirror. So we look at the data and we look at what was backwards, right? That's not anymore like that. So data is in constant evolution. The point that is readily available at high volume, at high speed, and constantly available online in real time makes it mandatory for any business to monitor data, the data flow at all times in real time, because they can tweak their communication as data flows. This is the real revolution of internet communication and of online campaigns. Because when you created a commercial for the TV or for the radio, you just created a commercial, you put it on air, and you started crossing your fingers, hoping that it would succeed. It's not anymore the case. Today, when you put online and we publish a campaign, then you can monitor. Actually, you should monitor and look at how it proceeds online, and you can always tweak it and change it, optimize it, and make it more impactful as the campaign goes. So data needs to be looked at in order to provide more value to the business and to the user. Okay? Data is not only Google Analytics, though. Data is not only your website behavior. That's not the only data you can look at. Google Analytics or Adobe Analytics or the systems that you connect to your website to actually measure customer behavior or user behavior when they go to your website. Those depict a very limited frame of all the data that you can collect, and they paint a very limited picture of the user that is actually visiting your website and taking advantage of your online presence. So how do you enhance that picture? How do you go from like a very big picture to actually a detailed image of your user? Well, you need to collect more data. And you know what is the most important and the best way to know things about your users and your customers? There's one way, and that way is asking. Do not forget to ask your customers and your users what was their experience with you. Do not forget to put online surveys, to put forms, feedback forms, where people can actually interact with you and tell you if they found your website useful, if they found your website interesting, if they found your product as something that added value to them. It's something that very often is forgotten. You cannot rely solely on quantitative data. You need to start relying also on qualitative data. So yes, look at Google Analytics and look at your CRM data and look at your finance data. That's absolutely fine. Try to make the picture more colorful by looking at qualitative data. And to look at qualitative data, you need to create customer feedback, and you need to analyze the context. So if you want to know what happens online, there's a family of three data groups that you need to control. First, I would say, what happens on your website? That means all the clickstream analysis. Then you need to understand why things happen on your website, and that means qualitative data. And if you want to know qualitative data, you need to listen to the voice of the customers. And the voice of the customers is going to be collected through online forums, surveys, or even events and webinars like this one, and interactive communication. And of course, the picture would be crippled if you didn't look at the context. You do not only want to know that your website is going well and that the voice of customer is positive, so you have positive feedback, but you want to position that data within a context of a competitive landscape where you probably have a lot of competitors that are moving towards the same target audience that you are. So when it's about collecting the data on the web for your marketing strategies, please remember this slide, and these that are the so-called web analytics pillars. 3 things: the what, the why, the context. Google Analytics tells you what happens, then customer feedback and context, they tell you why that happens and in what landscape it happens. And that was the part about integrating the technology within processes. Now, The second part is of the digital transformation is about changing the organizational culture in a way that data is not only collected, but it's also used. Because far too many times have I witnessed companies that did collect and integrate a lot of data points within the system, but then they didn't use it properly. You should not consider a proper usage of the data only in the customer acquisition. You need to use the data also to improve your service and your products following the feedback that you gather through the feedback forms and such. So when you have created a profile of your users and your clients, that's when you need to act and do personalized marketing, okay? It's no use building up profiles of the users if you then go out with the same message to everyone, because it still happens. Companies build a big database of like a lot of people, but then they don't go out with personalized messages. So try to create adaptive websites that adapt to the user. If you go on Amazon, if you go on eBay, if you go on, I don't know, Netflix, for example, you never ever, two people, they never see the same interface. Interface is always customized to the user that is watching it. That is the present, not the future of online communication. Personalized marketing. So personalized financial advice, you cannot do it in person with personalized advice. You cannot do it for all your clients. Really? Yes, you can, because you can use artificial intelligence to do that. You don't have to put people, like 1,000 people working in a financial service to try and answer to all the questions that you get. But you can use bots. You can use artificial intelligence to answer the first needs, and it always happens to be very important. They say that pretty much 40% of the people that actually start a conversation online with a chatbot, you don't really realize that they're talking to a machine. 40%, because the artificial intelligence has become so good that not immediately can you understand that you're actually talking to a software and not to a person. So use that. That's why the conversation that you can generate is in higher number and in a higher frequency. In finance, you can definitely talk about helping users through artificial intelligence to create financial tasks and transaction in a lot quicker and better way. You can use artificial intelligence not only to talk to customers and to answer them, but you can use it also to analyze the data and the information at a scale. But the analysis needs to have an outcome. The outcome has to be the generation of financial models and also of communication and marketing models that are implemented on a one-to-one basis. Marketing is always more effective when the conversation happens on a one-to-one basis, or at least in the appearance of a one-to-one basis, okay? Now, when you have created all the content, you need to make sure that you build a sort of a community around your services. And that's why I said before that you need to create content that is also educational, because you want to put everybody up to speed. You want to create a digital transformation for your business where your existing clients grow with you. They don't stay behind. You want them to grow with you. And the only way is to bring them along your digital transformation path, thus creating webinars, podcasts, workshops, discuss about financial trends, and in general also promote user-generated content on your social media to try and leverage the very, very valuable impact that a community can give you. Many companies also start collaborating with influencers online to try and enhance the brand awareness and their recognition. This is something that everybody should do today. Of course, it's not easy to find and pick up the right influencers for a specific niche, but it can be done. You can also work by trial and error, because this is something that my previous mentors have always said, that sounds very weird, but it actually works. The internet allows you to fail fast. And this is a positive thing, because you don't have to spend a lot of money to realize that a certain activity doesn't work. And this is something that was not possible before. You needed to, if you wanted to do a communication at a scale, so on a global level, you needed to have a lot of money before the internet to be able to reach users at a really large scale. And and you did it without really knowing what was going to happen. So it was a lot of a jump in the dark. So other things that you should do is, of course, use insights from the data you collect to improve your mobile experience and the website. I see many companies that build a website and then leave it as it is for 5 years. Okay, a website or a mobile app is something that needs to stay alive, be kept alive. So you need to evaluate how it works. You need to remove the bottlenecks for the users. You need to enhance its content. You need to improve its usability and the experience that the customer has. And that cannot be done if you just publish it and think that that is done. Once you publish a website, that's when the website starts living, and that's when you need to start nurturing it more and more. Content is crucial. Creating a proper content strategy is something that many companies are failing at. And if you want to transform digitally, and if you want to bring the community with you through this process of digital transformation, you need to make sure that the content you create is actually of value. This is extremely important, okay? It's extremely important also because it's a news actually from 2-3 days ago. Last week there was a Google update, and the update that Google did is now starting to look at artificial intelligence as not the proper way to create content. So companies that rely only on artificial intelligence to create content are not going to succeed on Google very much, because Google doesn't want them to succeed. Google wants that the content that is being created is actually original. This is such a vertical. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole because I would make you bored, but really this is something we could talk about another time. So please feel free to just give us your feedback if this is something that interests you. But actually looking at how artificial intelligence is moving in marketing and is shifting the ways of the company, that's something that I think it could be interesting for you that work in such a fast evolving business world, right? But okay, let's go back to the content. Content means creating articles, services, financial tools, online security information, investment tips, everything that for a financial company might be useful for the user. And of course, the last point here is the most important thing, another topic that could be a very, very vertical loop, and I don't want to go there, but think about the fact that it is very important today to try and know a lot more about the user than you normally know. And how do you do that? You do that by offering very high quality content for the user in exchange for their details. And their details are called first party data. That means name, surname, and email. You want to have normal articles and educational content on your website, but you also want to have special content like white papers, researches, special videos, educational content, courses, financial tips expanded, something very valuable, and you wanted to create a gate so that users, before accessing it, they need to tell you who they are. So it needs to be so valuable that people want to give you their name, surname, and email. So they want to give you their first party data in order to access this document. This allows companies to build their database and to start profiling the users. This is the most important strategy that every company in every industry, government, finance, travel, normal business, everybody needs to do. Starting to build first party data, mailing lists and lists to create advanced strategies and to nurture the leads into what could become customers. Okay. Now, these are examples of lead magnets. You want to create a loan calculator. It's a very good idea. Before doing that, ask the users to give you name, surname, and email. Or you want to make sure that people find out what the estimate value of their property is. You can create a calculator for that, but ask them to actually do that. I am currently working, one of my clients in actually Italy is probably one of the biggest, two, three biggest real estate companies. They have about 600 agencies in the whole territory in Italy. And we take care of them, of their marketing. And one of the things we do is we actually do these calculators, and the calculators about what a property is worth for that client is building up database of 500 to 600 people per week. So it's a huge amount of data that is building, and data is cash. We talked about it before. To sum it up, let's look at all the aspects into marketing and what was happening before digital transformation and after digital transformation. So customer insight used to be limited to periodic services or feedback forms within the offline presence of the bank. Now there's real-time data analytics, and we have all the customer behavior in real time. Product promotion used to be like a very general broadcast communications shootout to a lot of people that had different needs. And after digital transformation, you can talk in a very tailored way. You can make marketing based on customers' transactional information, preferences. You can make one-on-one marketing communication. Used to have before digital transformation just offline channels like radio, TV, or generic emails, or even in person and face to face. Now you have at your disposal a plethora of different channels online to which you can create touch points with your clients and build the so-called picture of your users and potential clients. You used to be able to do customer education and engagement content within the premises of the branch. Here, we are still talking about a case of a financial company, but now there's online webinars, there's financial literacy content that you can create online. And I think that you can easily understand how all these processes can be adapted to any kind of company and not just to finance. I decided to use one aspect, one industry, just to create an example that could stick with you, and because I think that I didn't want to be theoretical. Feedback that you collect used to be slow and used to be manual. Today you have instant feedback that you can use to improve your service. And you can do cross-selling in a very different way. You tried to do it before without really deep customer understanding, but now every company has the goal of understanding who their customers or potential customers are and what they want. So today we talked about a lot of things. I tried to squeeze quite a few topics within this speech, and it's the first time I do this webinar with the Dubai Quality Group, and I'm very happy about having spoken with their audience. But it's very important for me to actually practice what I preach. So I've been saying today that it's important to have customer feedback, to have user feedback. And that wouldn't be fair if I didn't ask you at the end of this speech to actually give us your honest feedback. We can take it. Whatever it is, has this information been too shallow? Has it been too technical? Has it been up to your standards? Does it lack anything? Please give us your feedback, because that's the only way that we can improve what we do, okay? And the second thing I'm asking you, just in conclusion, is really, do you struggle with aligning the marketing goals with business goals? Please feel free to reach out. Let's talk about it. You will receive these slides of presentation. You click on the reach out. You will be forwarded to my email. Feel free. A call really doesn't cost us anything. I will be very, very happy to know more about your reality and know more about what you think. Your feedback, if given in person, is going to be even more valuable. So please feel free to do that and connect. Okay. Having said this, I would say that since I ran a little bit late with the speech, I think I'm going to stop sharing the screen and really I'll be happy to take some questions if anybody has some.
Thank you so much, Mr. Paolo. Really, it's an informative session. We know a lot of stuff about the digital, especially the digital marketing, and how to manage it and customize it as per our needs and services as well. We would love to receive the question right now at the Q&A, and I would love to announce that you will be able to reach directly to Mr. Paolo We will share all the details that has been displayed right now, along with his contact details. So if Mr. Paolo can just drop in right now on the chat area his email address, so everyone can be able to reach him directly if you need a private consultation about certain topics related to the digital marketing. Right now, we have two questions.
Yeah, well, one I see.
Yeah.
So I see that Sahin first wrote a very, very correct and interesting definition of digital transformation. I really agree. It's a holistic approach to integrate digital into all aspects of an organization. I truly believe this is exactly what I tried to describe. So I think we are on the same page. The other thing is he's asking me to talk a little bit more about blockchain, which is not my field of expertise, and I only talk about what my field of expertise is because I don't want to leave bad impressions. But something I do know about this because I've been working with clients in this field for quite many years. So the thing is, I can assure you that when it comes to blockchain, educational content is still not enough. It seems like it's still a lot of fintech realities are still talking about blockchain in a very, very strict jargon with very, very technical, language. But end users, they need to see it spoken in plain and easy words. So make sure that every time you communicate a technical thing, you just get out of the jargon of the industry and you speak the user's language, because there's no other way to make sure that the message goes through. Okay. Please shoot if you have any issues, even if you're disagreeing with what has been said or sharing the difficulties that you have. Like, for example, I'd be glad to understand if any of you is already using artificial intelligence to create content for their websites or using artificial intelligence to create apps or feedback. That would be interesting.
Yeah, Mr. Paolo, I would love to know also if the digital transformation will be different from the government sector versus the private sector. Same tools, or it will be a different general scale?
Oh, no. Let's for example, let's consider the government sector for a second, okay? And if you remember, I showed as a last slide like a table of how things were done before and how things are done today, okay? So let's make an example for that when it comes to the government section of what was before and what was after, right? So for example, when it comes to a governance initiative, then before digital transformation, normally there was very, very high difficulties in gathering feedback, okay? And so there was like very infrequent surveys by the government, but today the government can actually use digital platforms to actually capture real-time data about public needs, and therefore it can reach out and create those. And the government sometimes had to promote services, and used to know it with, very broad announcements and a limited targeting. But today, promotion of government initiative, they can definitely take advantage of online ads, campaigns. They can have they can know user profiles and behaviors. It's going to be very easy to do that. And the communication that the government used to use that was traditional media can now go towards newsletters, SMS campaigns, portal notifications. There are many ways to reinforce the constant engagement. And also the feedback loop can be enhanced by using technology for the government and understanding better and in a smarter way what population actually do, okay? I see.
Okay, great.
I hope
Yeah,
I
the
answered your
questions start
question.
coming. Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah. Not at all. We have a question from Mr. Said Atif, if you can take it.
Yeah, how can digital transformation initiatives be leveraged to promote environmental sustainability and reduce the carbon footprint of businesses? And what role do emerging technologies like IoT, AI, and blockchain play in achieving these goals? Wow, this would deserve actually a whole webinar about it. I am a strong promoter of sustainability. I really think it's very important to reduce the carbon footprint, and I've actually worked on a project that used to understand what actually was the digital footprint of any online presence of companies because website consumption, so the website usage also creates a footprint. Okay, so you can calculate how many users are now on your website, and you can calculate how many people are on your advertising campaigns. And by looking at the number of bytes that they consume, you can kind of infer how much electricity and where that electricity is provided. All these calculations can give you an idea of the carbon footprint, and I've worked on a project to understand that. I really think that emerging technologies have a very high, positive impact on carbon footprint, because you're really going away from print. You're going away from meeting necessarily in real time. So you are, of course, being more sustainable. You have to be careful, because do not forget that also those things have an impact on environment. Absolutely. So that's also something that needs to be wise. I really think that sustainability is also supposed to be used in a way to get closer to the customer. But when you do that, it has to be done in a genuine way and a sincere way. Otherwise, it's going to be definitely be understood by the clients. So I really like this question. I think you would really deserve a lot of discussion. So sorry for answering quickly, but reach out, and if you want, we can talk about it.
Well, before jumping to the next question, I would love to ask the audience to take a moment for our survey. If you can give us your feedback about the webinar and the topics that you would love to hear and attend from our side. The next question, I believe, from Sahim.
Oh, Sahim, that's a very good question. Thank you for bringing the question up. I absolutely agree. Let me summarize it. So Sahim is worried that cost per click online for Google Ads and potentially other tools, ad platforms, is getting very high. I agree. Competition online, the fact that all of the companies are moving online is generating more competition. Competition always generates an increase in prices to actually target a specific audience. That's very natural, okay? The point is that if you want to make sure you monitor the cost of your advertising campaigns, you need to make sure that your technology and the quality of the campaign is up to speed. The only way to reduce the cost is actually to kind of go with the flow. So the latest campaign times generated by Facebook and Meta in general, so on Instagram and Facebook, and by Google, they are monitored and managed by artificial intelligence. They have helped me reduce the cost for my clients up to 30-40% of the clicks, because the algorithm makes a lot of the bidding autonomously. But it only works if you provide the algorithm with the proper intelligence. So it's a very important question what you're saying. Once again, if you want to reach out, we can talk about it in a separate moment. But yes, definitely. Oh, and definitely it's true that the return on investment is something that is changing. And if you keep relying on old style campaigns, there's no way that you can revert this trend of increasing prices. Okay, so you need to get up to speed. The other last part, sorry, of the questions. What are some tips to market product and service for B2C? Once again, this is a topic for like a whole new marketing, and I'll be super happy to host other webinars with you. So this is I extend this to Mrs. Doa, so you can, okay.
Yeah, we can take it. Yeah, take it to another.
Tips for business to consumer. I'll just share one. Do not rely on one channel only. Do not put all your eggs in the same basket. And I know you will maybe not believe me, but I really beg you to trust me. Many companies are still putting all their eggs into the same basket, investing everything only on Google, relying only on social media. That's not going to work, because the moment in which Google changes the algorithm, the moment in which the Google Ads platform increases too much CPC, then you're out of business. So never put all your eggs into one basket, and create an potentially full funnel strategy, full channel strategy, where you can actually target users with different messages and different channels. I hope it understands. It answers your question.
Well, I think we reached to the end. Uh, so far, there is no any upcoming questions. However, we would love to hear back from you and know about the topic that you would love to discuss more and more, especially any topic related to the digital transformation. Please share your thoughts with us, and we will get back to you with the next webinar. Hopefully, it will be meet your expectation. Thank you so much, Mr. Paolo, for your time today. It's really informative session. I really enjoyed about it, and we hopefully will conduct more and more webinars about these topics and other topics as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today and attending our webinar. Let's meet for the next webinar, inshallah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.